Hi IGTV, hey fam and community. My name is Chelsea Vastine. I am the creator of the Vast Living 365 brand. So what we're going to be doing today is just an introduction so you guys can get to know me, get to know the brand, get to know a little bit of behind the scenes of how this even came to fruition. And I wanted to upload my live from last night into IGTV so that you guys could see just real candid conversation in there. But unfortunately, technical difficulties were the theme, and after trying all day to figure it out, it just too much work. So I'm re-recording this. We're gonna go through this, and I want you guys to have access to all that behind the scenes if you weren't able to tune into the live last night. So we're gonna go through why the brand is called Vast Living 365. It's a little bit obvious, but there is a little bit more meaning behind it as well. So my name's Chelsea Vastine. I don't know if you guys caught on, but it's called Vast Living. So the first part of my last name is Vast, and I wanted to incorporate a part of me into the brand because I'm invested into this. This is something that I got to create, which is so cool. This is the first thing that I have created that I am like 100% backing, putting my name on, and this just excites me. So I wanted a part of me to be in there. Also, the definition of vast is of very great quantity or immense or great extent. So think of, the ocean as far as the eye can see and then some. That's what I consider vast. So we're gonna take that and we're gonna translate it into our lifestyle, and we're gonna create a lifestyle that's just so beyond our wildest dreams, so beyond anything that we could have created, that it is just gonna be vast. There's not gonna be any other word to call it. It's just vast. And everybody has their own unique journey. The 365 in the brand name means that we're gonna be living vast 365 days out of the year. We're not going to take a day off of being awesome. We're not going to take a day off of being ourselves, because this is who we were intended to be. This is who we were created to be. So there's a little bit behind the name there for you, but we're going to get started into the story, the journey of this brand. So this started out as me needing to share what it took me over 7 years to figure out. And trust me, I don't want anybody to struggle the way that I struggled for my entire young adult life, all right? So this brand is a creation, a manifestation of things that I have been learning in the last 7 years. So if you refer back to one of my posts, I promoted a book on there, and I don't get any money for this, but I promoted a book on there by Simon Sinek, and it's called Start With Why. This is such, when I read this book a couple years ago, it was recommended to me by one of my business mentors. It was a book that I had a hard time reading because the author challenges you to dig in and say, why are you here? What is your purpose? What are you trying to achieve with your life? And he uses some incredible examples. He's got Steve Jobs on there, Bill Gates, and all these people that just started out with a small why. And that why was their motivation and inspiration to take them so much further and so much more vast in their lifestyle. And it was hard for me to read this book because I didn't know my why. I didn't know my purpose, and this made it really hard for me to make any definitive decision in my life. I just felt like I was tossed by the wind. I couldn't take a stance. I couldn't go all out in any direction because I didn't know if it was the right direction, and I struggled with that. I didn't want to make the wrong decision. And I realized at this point when I was reading this book that I could either be average and just try to keep up with the Joneses, poorly, I might add. I didn't do a very good job of that. Or thanks to that incredible business mentor that I have that stretched me and pushed me to go further, I realized that I could reach for things beyond what I could have ever imagined for myself. So I'm gonna get really real today. You guys are gonna learn things about me that I've not shared with anybody. The people on the live last night were the first to hear some of this stuff. And so you guys are gonna be on the same page as them by the time this is over. This is gonna take you through what it was that brought me out of that 7-year slump of being aimless and not knowing what I was going to do with my life. So a little bit of backstory. From the beginning, I was a student that just excelled. I was a person that excelled in everything that I put my mind to. I had really great parents that taught me how to exceed people's expectations. They taught me to go the extra mile, and that got me really far. I earned positions of leadership at every grade level, in the student offices. I had a high test score. On my ACT, I scored 30s on every section but one. I never went below a 3.7 GPA in college, and because of all of that hard work, I was able to go to one of the top private universities in the US. I followed the path of hard work and least resistance, and I was miserable. Y'all, I was spending my whole life focused on my future. I asked myself, what will I be able to do? What will I be able to accomplish? Where will I live? Who will I marry? What kind of career will I have, and what kind of life will I have? And everything that we search for, if we're looking in the future, is intangible, because nobody lives in the future. Everybody lives right now in the present. And for me at that time, my present was a prison. I mean, every decision based on the mindset that I had to prove myself. And I don't know who I was proving myself to, because I had very supportive parents. I had very supportive friends. It's not like they were gonna judge me or scold me if I decided to take another path. But, I just felt like I was living in this constant fear of falling behind and not achieving what other people in my age group were achieving. And here's where I get really vulnerable. At this point, going through college and not knowing what I wanted to do, every path feeling wrong for me, y'all, I hated my life. Now, let me get real. I was taught to be very grateful. I was taught to count my blessings, and I have journals that just outline things that I was grateful for. My bills were paid, and I was doing what everybody said I should be doing, and I kept looking at my future, y'all, and thinking, it better not stay this way. It better get better than this. From this mindset of trying to do what everybody told me to do, I just felt trapped, and from this mindset, I racked up over $35,000 in debt, keeping up with the stupid Joneses, people that I don't even talk to, people that aren't even my friends, that aren't in my sphere of influence at all. I never felt worthy. I never felt like I had the intelligence or the capability to stand up against the crowd, against the plan, and do something totally different that gave me life. I lived in nice apartments. I had nice furniture. I drove a nice car. I had my hair, nails, makeup always done, showtime ready. But I was never on the right stage. So I'm gonna do an analogy here, and on my live this was fun because I had people responding with us, but respond where you are at home. Think about this question. Have you ever felt like you were playing a character in the wrong play? Now, I was never in a play or in drama or anything like that, but the analogy just sounded so fitting. So I came up with the most unfitting thing that I could. The life that I and many of you were probably experiencing was you and I playing the role of the Terminator in a stage that was set for the Notebook. I mean, how unfitting is that? But every day, that's how a lot of us feel, and that's how I would describe my young adulthood, trying to figure out what stage was I supposed to be on. So now we're gonna, let's see, being in a setting that's completely different than what you and I were made for, that's gonna teach you skills that are invaluable. Skills that you never thought you were going to acquire, and there's value in that. Time's not wasted when you have grown or learned something. So don't feel like when I say that, for 7 years I was trying to find my way, don't feel like that was all time wasted. In that time, I was able to learn things that I would not have been able to learn had I just gotten right down into where I belonged. There are skills that I had to learn, and I look back now and I realize I needed to learn those things before I could advance into the stage of life that I'm in right now. So don't get down on yourself feeling like you've wasted time. If you've learned something, you're good, all right? That is all that matters. And I would not, if I hadn't been stretched or broken down or remade in so many different areas of my lives because of those situations, I would not be the person I am today, and neither would you. So who was I? We just talked about that. Who am I now? This is the journey that I want to take you on. This is what brings me my current project. I mean, how cool is it to say that it's my project. This is my baby. I'm so excited for this. This is my brain, my heart, my newly developed skill set that I get to unapologetically share with the world and share with you. And guess what? No hater of my work, no hater in the comments or in my DMs are ever gonna land on my heart. Because when something feels so right that literally the entire social world can hate you for it, it's not gonna faze you. And you know what that means? It means you made it. You freaking made it. When you can have the entire world against you and it doesn't faze you, you're on the right path. So if you're currently there, just keep going, all right? If you're not there, stick with me. We're gonna find that path, okay? So this is the opportunity that I crave to give other people, because this life is better than I could have ever fabricated for myself. This world, if you think about it, would be so much better if everyone was able to find their niche, find where they belonged. I feel like people would be a lot less frustrated, and they would take out less frustration on other people. There would be less abuse, less negativity, less fighting, less division, less mediocrity if everyone just found and grew into their niche. Now, not everyone has the desire to grow, because growing requires more work than I've put into anything before. And remember, guys, I was an overachiever. All right, so I don't say this to scare you away. I say this to be fully and completely transparent with you guys, because I told y'all when I was, promoting my live and trying to get the word out that I was gonna share it all on this video. So no holds barred, man. If you're expecting some sugar-coated pill for you to swallow, that brings your satisfaction into this place of complacency, then you're really watching your worst nightmare right now, because I'm here to grow you, to stretch you, to make you into the person that you were intended to be, and that's what I get passionate about. So I'm stepping into the arena that is intended to challenge you and break you and mold you and then grow you into a flourishing example of what the human race was intended to be in the beginning. And if you guys don't understand that reference, refer to Genesis 1 in the Bible and you'll figure it out. So if you're seeking to be the absolute best version of yourself, if you're looking to be stretched, looking to be challenged, looking to be more resolute in your decision-making process and not tossed by the wind, and create an income while doing so, this is your home, okay? This page, the VastLiving_365 handle, that's your space, all right? That's your creative space. This is where you go to be brought into this family of people that are gonna encourage you. They're gonna pick you up when you've fallen down. They're gonna be there to tell you, hey, you can do this. Look at these people that are further along than you, all right? They've hit those roadblocks and they kept going, and look at where they are right now. And that is going to help you to keep going on your growth journey. All right. Now, everybody's growth journey is individual. However, there are a lot of themes that will go along with everybody's growth journey. And this is why we can all come together and do it as a community. I was all alone on my growth journey, and I'm very far from perfect, but I've been through all this firsthand, and the one thing that I craved during my massive growth journey in the last 8 to 10 months was somebody there that knew better than I did, that could just, walk me through it. If you're able to show me, hey, this is what's happening now, this is the return you're going to get in the future, or if I didn't know how to proceed, I was on my own. I had to figure it out, and I feel like it was a lot harder that way, and I feel like there was some time in there that I could have utilized better and been more efficient and gotten through things faster and with less pain. And so that's what I'm here to do. And guys, what I've learned in the last 8 to 10 months, I could have never learned in a classroom. I never learned it in going to the university. I never learned this on massive job training because I've been in management. I have taken all of the courses. I'm with an incredible company that they literally had a leadership training course that was accredited with my university that my company just put on their own. I mean, guys, I've been there, therapy sessions, like I learned more in the last 8 to 10 months than any of that has ever been able to touch on. And it's because we went to such a deeper level than all of these surface level cookie cutter, all size fits one programs. So now on this next growth journey of mine, albeit very difficult, it's all about building this brand, building other people up to create their own brand. And when I say brand, I don't specifically mean building a business. I mean building yourself so that whoever you meet or come in contact with, they're going to know that you're unapologetically yourself without wavering. They're going to know where you stand in your skill set and your attributes and your strengths. And this is going to open up so many doors for you, and you're going to get to go to that place in life that you actually want to be, instead of doing something that drives you crazy or makes you feel like you don't have a purpose or a rhyme or a reason for being here. By being yourself and branding yourself, no matter what that looks like for you, you're going to be in your community and you're going to be a lot happier there. I will always post free content on this page and share resources that were put into place by other people to help us achieve greatness. However, I'm undertaking an incredible feat of copywriting my own curriculum for personal growth, and I will tailor this curriculum to my future individual or group clients based on their needs. So this is what my entire life has built up to, and I didn't even know it. And it's scary to say something so definitive like that, but I'm not going to BS you guys. You're taking time out of your schedule to watch this IGTV with us, and I'm going to be straight with you. I sometimes do revert back to that insecure, people-pleasing, don't rock the boat, shell of a person I once was, and that's okay. Like I said, this is not about perfection. This is about growth, and part of growing, if you're familiar with any plant or flower or tree, any type of gardening, part of growing is pruning. Now, pruning means shedding the dead parts so that you can make room for new growth. So your entire life with growth is going to be about pruning if you take this time and this program seriously, and that's necessary for growth. So for my people who were watching on the West Coast, I had a couple people out there because I used to live in California. We had these massive 300-foot redwood trees. You literally could look up and not see the top. They were so freaking tall. And those redwoods in their beginning stages of growth were just so tiny. And if they never shed their outer layer, if they never shed their bark, they would have never become one of the world's natural wonders. And people wouldn't travel thousands of miles to go to the redwood forest and see these trees if they never pruned themselves and grew to heights that, just leave people breathless. And guys, that's you, that's me, we're a wonder of the world because we're dedicated to pruning ourselves into growing, and so many people are too scared to do that, and we're not. All right. Now, that's not to say that there aren't going to be moments where you do want to go revert back, and where you are going to be scared, or you're going to live in fear sometimes. And part of the curriculum is working through that fear and getting through that, unsettling that's in your mind because you're stepping out into a new territory. But y'all, if you go through that process of pruning and growth, it's going to be a lifelong process, and it'll get easier with time. But it's so necessary, and it's so incredible to see what comes out of that. So what I did during my live is I opened up the floor to some questions that my viewers had. And one question that they had was, what kind of frame of mind do you have to be in for personal growth or professional growth, whatever it is? And I loved that question. So I'm going to put this in this IGTV post because it was such an incredible question. It was the right question. So Sarah, you nailed it with this question if you watch this. The kind of mindset that I originally started in was a mindset of excitement. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna grow, I'm gonna be better, I'm gonna find my purpose and do the things I was intended to do. And I was really excited. I knew it was gonna be hard, but other things have been hard and haven't had this kind of return. So I was ready for the hard part. But when I got down into it, and parts of my life were coming up and they were being exposed, and I didn't want those parts to be exposed, that's where it got really hard. So, told you, no holds barred here. I'm going to be really real with y'all. You've got to be vulnerable, and you've got to be okay with that. And it's uncomfortable. Being vulnerable means that you're being so real with yourself that you may not like the answer you get from yourself. An example of this is I had to face the reason why I was trying to keep up with other people's achievements, why I tried to keep up with their income level, why I tried to keep up with all of the toys and shiny things. I had to get real with myself and say, why? Why am I so in need of their approval? And that was one of the most vulnerable things I have ever asked myself. And that's one of the most vulnerable things I've ever answered to myself. And you've got to be in a mindset to have many things like that come to the surface. And when I say being vulnerable, you don't have to get other people involved in those deep parts of your life. If you journal about it, or what I like to do, because a lot of times I have a 40-minute commute to my career and back, so I have a lot of time to think. And a lot of the times when things would come up would be when I'm on that car ride. So I'm not able to write. I'm not able to jot down my thoughts. So what I did instead was I went on my phone, turned on the voice memo app on the iPhone. I'm sure Android has something just like that. And I would just say it all. I was in the car by myself for 40 minutes. I'd put that voice recording on. I would say everything that was on my heart, and I would go back and I would listen to it. When you go back and you listen to it, or you go back and you read that entry that you made, you are able to pick out the things that reoccur and show up constantly. And that was one of the most useful tools. So this is part of the curriculum that we'll get into later, but this is one of the most useful tools that I had during my growth journey, was being able to reflect back on very real, raw thoughts, and finding out of those raw thoughts what needs to be addressed. I had a lot of great epiphanies as well. It wasn't all hard and raw and emotional. There were a lot of things where thoughts would come into my mind and I'd be like, I've got to write this down. I don't have a pen. throw on the voice recording, you're good. You've got it saved. So to answer Sarah's question, you've got to be real. You've got to be vulnerable. You've got to give yourself time to sit down and think. And so many people love mind numbing because it means they don't have to think about the hard stuff. You can't do that. Can't do that if you're going to grow. You can't mind numb. So that was my answer to her question last night. If you guys have questions after watching this video, please send me messages in my DMs or, just get involved on the page, y'all. We cannot get this message out if we're not sharing, liking, if we're not, sending these to people's inboxes, the videos and the posts. We can't build our community if we don't go out and rally around it. So if there is somebody in your life that you see, they're just going in circles and they're trying to break the cycle. They're trying to find what fuels them and they just haven't figured it out. Okay, send them here. This is their home. It's a no judgment zone here. I mean, there are people that I have been coaching that have been through the ringer and they have had things happen to them and things that they have done that were not savory, okay, if you know what I mean. So here's the thing. It doesn't matter what your background is. If you have the desire to learn, we're going to give you the capacity to achieve, all right? That's what we're here to do. And you've got to get the word out so that we can teach other people that they don't have to settle. All right. So, y'all, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching this. And if you guys have any questions, please send them my way. All right. Mwah. Love you.